So how did you escape to this level at this point, where this weekend there's basically, in essence, this is like, as we call it, the dog and pony show. There's radio program directors, film, people looking for music for films and stuff. You decided to come out here and basically expose yourself to the world. It's a very difficult thing to do, right?
Yeah, especially I played today for the lunch crowd. So
tough.
Food music, yeah.
Food music.
but
way harder than playing at a club.
Yes, definitely.
Because people in a club pay to come and see you.
Yeah, exactly. But it's you just do what you can do. But it's it was different. It wasn't too much harder, but it is very different. Very different feel. But it's almost just like any other place too. Because right now about the only real places to play are bars and clubs like that. So usually you have half the people listening, half the people talking. It's just the way it is. But if you reach a few people, then you've done something right. So,
what's in the future for you then? What do you want to do?
Well, I just recently signed to Universal, so I'm co-writing with a lot of artists, a lot of the label artists right now, and
anybody we know?
I have 2 tracks on the Howie Day record, the new Sound the Alarm, it's a new record, and I also have one of the American Idol kids, Jason Castro, used one of my songs, You Can Always Come Home. That's going to be on his new record. They just put out an EP a little while ago. And I've written with this new Epic artist, Dave Gibson, and also this guy, Matt White. Like a top
would you be happy being like an Elvis Costello where everybody wants to cover your songs, but you can just, get along at this completely different level? And I don't know if you've had the negotiation process yet where they go, we want to record your song, but we don't want to pay you the full rack on the royalties, and they try to negotiate something. Elvis Costello was pretty much, no, pay me the full rack.
Yeah.
And don't change anything in the song.
I haven't really dealt with that yet, but because when they did You Can Always Come Home, obviously it was just it was a cover. It was like, Jason Castro put it on his record, and they didn't change really too much about the demo.
Right.
When I demoed it out, when they actually recorded it for the record, I was really pleased with the way they did it because they didn't really change much. It was just the song. It was, acoustic, still just a slow acoustic, pretty song. And
who are you listening to now? Who's on the iPod now that you're into?
It's really weird because I haven't really gotten into any newer bands. So right now it's somewhere between I'll be listening to either Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young or, actually not a newer singer-songwriter, but David Bazan I'm really into from Pay to the Lion.
Mm-hmm.
And probably that and Ryan Adams, those 3.
Interesting.
Kind of.
Which era of Ryan Adams? Whiskey Town or
basically Whiskey Town and Gold and rock and roll. And,
okay, interesting.
Some of Cold Roses.
So basically, what you're telling me is a good cross section of stuff.
Yeah, I try to stay pretty open minded to everything.
Right.
And, I just like songs with structure and substance, and that's what I think, is really. It's almost kind of lacking in what's coming out a lot today is just really good song structure,
right.
Songs with substance and songs that make sense, like they used to.
It's interesting you say that because what we're doing at Project Rhythm Seed is try to bring back to schools instruments and teachers so that kids can understand what you're obviously well in tune with. The fact that it's not just about picking up Rock Band and, hitting 4 yellow keys or whatever it is on your little guitar or singing along with something. You actually have to be able to write a song, which is a very hard thing to do.
It's funny that you mentioned Rock Band because, I feel like when I watch everyone that's gotten so obsessed with it, it's good and bad in a way because some kids put it down and they get really good interested in music and they want to play music. And, there might be the next great songwriter that comes out and says, when he's 28, writes an amazing record and says, I got into music because I liked playing a video game, and and that might happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
And, but at the same time, it's also basically saying music is a game. So it's just kind of
to a certain extent.
I think kind of half and half. So,
well, let me ask you this: at what point? How old were you when you realized, oh, that's how a song is written? What do you remember the first time that you went? I get it now.
Yeah, when I heard 69 Love Songs, Stephen Magnetic Fields, that record, I understood exactly how. And then it's actually because when I heard that, that's what opened my eyes. And then I kind of went backwards and started listening to the classics. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
How old were you when that happened?
About 18.
18.
Yeah. It took me a long time to
So
get into
I
good
think
things.
in a way, what you're saying about the rock band and so on and so
Yeah.
forth is if it gets them into something and then they actually go listen to the album without trying to noodle along with it,
Yeah.
that eventually there might be this light that goes on in their head and explains that to them. What
Yeah.
we're trying to do is get it so that kids in elementary school and high school and middle school get a chance to basically pick up a real guitar and a drum kit or whatever it is to understand what it is. But as you said, song structure, way more important than people even realize.
Yeah.
And that's probably the hardest part, because once you master a guitar, it doesn't really matter how good you are on it. You still have to be able to write the song that's going to make, the young girls cry, as Barry Manilow once said.
Sure. Yeah.
That's